Everyone. Today we are here to speak with a very skilled Toastmaster as part of District 105's Conversations with Distinguished Toastmasters. Distinguished Toastmaster Abraham is one of the most experienced Toastmasters in the district, with more than 20 years on his belt. It's wonderful to have you here, sir. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, and thank you for having me on the show.
It's our pleasure. We all know that Toastmasters is about building your identity. And for us, your identity is DTM Abraham Thomas. But to you, in your own words, who is Abraham Thomas?
Great. I won't repeat what you know me in the Toastmasters fraternity as a distinguished Toastmaster. Beyond that, and beyond Toastmasters, I play several roles. The first role that I played in my life ever was to be a son and a brother. I subsequently became a friend, a son-in-law, a brother-in-law, a husband, and finally a father. Now, all of these roles, in essence, together make the real Abraham Thomas. Forget the Toastmaster Abraham Thomas. Because I have my identity is Abraham Thomas. The DTM was an addition because of the fact that I joined Toastmasters. So all of these roles, if you really ask the various people in my life, my parents would say he was a dear son. My wife would say he's a darling. My children would probably say dreadful. But if you really want to know me without any inhibition, I will have to direct you to my beautiful wife of 38 years. She's the one who knows me the best, and she's the one who still has a problem because she continuously tells me, after 38 years, I'm still trying to figure you out.
So that was lovely. It was really lovely to get to know you better. So, as they say, there's a story to every relationship. So could you share with us and our audience how and when your relationship with the Toastmasters began?
Sure. My journey with Toastmasters began in 1999, and it was an accident. Indeed, I knew about Toastmasters from 95. I never attended a meeting, although I was invited to several, because it clashed with other activities that I had at that time. But there was a friend of mine who asked me once to tell him where the venue of Toastmasters was, and I took him there. He was an American gentleman who knew about Toastmasters extensively from where he came from and was trying to join a club locally. So I took him to the venue, and having gone there, I sat through the meeting. In the meeting, I witnessed a lot of the speeches, the evaluations, and I was in awe. I thought, this is amazing how people can talk so brilliantly. And then finally, the table topic session arrived, and there was this one particular gentleman who stood up and spoke as if so flawlessly. He started off with a quote, he had amazing content, and he finished with a quote. And I was like, oh my God, where is this place? This is definitely not where I want to be. If this is what table topics is, this is not the place that I want. Nobody pushed me into it, but we went for dinner, which was a customary thing after the meetings. And whilst we were having dinner, people were talking to me, and they were being so friendly and very welcoming. And there was an inner voice within me that said, if that gentleman could do it, you can do it better, because I have blessed you with as much, if not more, talent. That was a turning point, and I decided, and I signed up that very same evening to become a member of Abu Dhabi Toastmasters Club.
That was a real twist, if I do say so myself. Now, speaking of your Toastmaster journey, what was one of the most memorable moments in your Toastmaster journey?
Well, there are definitely several memorable moments. I just told you about the challenges I had with table topics. So the first time that I went through and attempted table topics successfully was a great moment. The first time that I won the club contest and went and represented the division at district was indeed a very memorable moment. Don't forget, it was a topic that I was literally scared of. And I went and I conquered that. And becoming a winner of the district championship of the contest was an amazing feeling. Now, these are all things that give you a lot of satisfaction, a lot of accomplishment, a feeling of accomplishment. But truly, my eureka moment, if you like, was when I was asked to conduct the third youth leadership program in Abu Dhabi. In a matter of 3 or 4 days, I started seeing how the children who were attending the program evolved to become better speakers. And they were able to take in so much. And I could see them looking up to me for advice how to do better. And I was giving them what little I knew, and they were turning that into to their advantage, and they became good. So before that youth leadership program ended, I realized that I was in a position that I had something within me to impart skills to others. And it was around that time that I also discovered this passion that I had to teach, to train, to guide, to mentor.
Well, we've spoken about your most memorable moment, but if we're speaking of memorable moments in general, we cannot ignore the fact that you are now a distinguished Toastmaster. What does this milestone mean for you?
Well, definitely the milestone means amazing things. The very fact, the sense of accomplishment, it's just like anything else, just like I told you, the challenge of facing table topics and then getting up onto that district stage and winning the contest. It's a sense of accomplishment, similar to the DTM. But yes, the DTM is a milestone, just like several other milestones. When I became a CC, that was a milestone. When I became a CL, it was a milestone. My ACB, my ACS, my ACL, my ACG, all of those were milestones. But I'd like to just think that this is yet just another milestone, and my journey in Toastmasters and in my life in general must continue. Now, talking of milestones, when I turned 50, it was a big milestone in my life to turn 50 years old. The question is, did I give up at that time? Did I rest on my laurels? I decided to go forward, and I continued to work through. And before I realized it, I turned 60, another milestone. This was a few years back. And I will continue to cherish every milestone, move forward to achieve the next one. Because in life, you achieve milestones up until the time that you work for it and you put effort. Because at one point you will have no time and no life to put effort in. And then there'll be no milestones. There will only be a tombstone.
That was amazing. So I was hoping you could throw some light on this idea. Many of us understand that Toastmasters can only improve your communication skills. But how can it actually improve your leadership skills?
Good question. Matter of factly, when I joined Toastmasters, my thoughts were also very similar. And why I joined Toastmasters was to actually, get better at my communication skills. And I thought, and I believe that that was the right place to be. Slowly but surely, a year after I joined, I was offered the position of the VP membership. One that I took up very reluctantly because I knew nothing about leadership. But once I took that up, I realized that there was so much more that I was able to give the members with my advice, with my guidance, and with my little knowledge at that time, because I was only a year old in Toastmasters. But I had a desire and a wish to serve them, to make them better. But in the process, you know what happened? I learned so much, and I also became a better leader. Now, because I was learning, I also learned that I understood I needed to be humble about the whole thing. It was not like I know it all. I knew nothing. I was learning with them and guiding them. And one of the other byproducts that I found from Toastmasters was that becoming a better communicator allowed me to become a lot more confident overall with anything and everything that I did from then on.
Thank you for that insight, sir. It's truly inspiring. Now, speaking of leadership and being a leader needs to listen more than his ability to speak. What do you make of this statement?
I would say that that statement is absolutely the truth. Because a leader cannot possibly, now what is a leader? Irrespective of what we think in terms of leader, with leadership comes some form of authority. And there is no authority without responsibility. They go hand in hand. And your responsibility is to those group of people that you're leading. In the Toastmasters fraternity, as a leader, you're leading members or other leaders. So you need to listen carefully to understand their very core concerns and issues. Because if you don't, how are you going to address them? And I'd like to also throw light on the fact that many people don't necessarily come out and voice out their concerns. So you need to have an understanding of the unsaid words to be able to understand their facial expressions sometimes, because they speak more, and be able to understand the language of the eyes. Because there's a beautiful saying in English, eyes always speak the truth that lips fear to utter. So be able to see that, address those situations, and give them solutions. Because as a leader, if you can't provide them solutions, I don't think you are doing justice to the role that you have been placed in. So yes, listening is a very, very important factor.
So now you've spoken about the two major skills that Toastmaster gifts you, which is communication and leadership. But can you tell us about how exactly this has changed, not just impacted, but how has it changed both your personal and your professional life?
Thank you for that question, Arundhati. I can tell you that it has not only changed my life, both professionally and personally, it has impacted the way I think, the way I behave, the way I do things. Now you must be thinking, what's communication got to do with all of this? Right, so professionally, let me tell you. I used to have major challenges presenting budget reports, reviewing budgets with other senior management at board meetings. But once I became a Toastmaster, and my communication skills allowed me to understand the nuances of good communication, of being able to put things together in a particular way. I can tell you these days, those meetings are no longer a nightmare. It's like cakewalk for me. On the personal front, I think, I have become a better communicator. But the unfortunate thing that I think on a personal front is that I've also become a good evaluator. Now, when you evaluate people at home, it can be a big challenge. So for my own self, I would say that I need to get my communication levels better at home and less of evaluations and general evaluations. At least that'll keep the family happy. Yeah?
I will definitely look out for all of these points you've mentioned today. So, you have been a mentor for many Toastmasters, including our current district and regional champion. What is effective mentorship in your experience?
Wonderful, Advait. Thank you very much again for bringing that question to me. I follow a very simple principle when it comes to mentoring. And that principle is I give it my absolute best. I work with my mentees, sometimes late into the evenings and nights, to be able to accomplish what I think they need. To polish up on their either their script or the way they do it or their gestures or their body language or anything that I think that will make their speech one notch better. Invariably, working with them with their script and with working with them over a period of time, I generally know their speech as well as they do. Because we also work on timing, I know exactly at which sentence he should be clocking 5 minutes, at what point he should be clocking 6 minutes, and at which part of the conclusion should that 7th minute be. And that is the beauty about it, is that I would be sitting behind or standing back, listening to them perform on stage, and know that as far as the timing is concerned, he's doing brilliantly. I've been fortunate enough to have mentees who are very, very good with learning and trying to improve, taking suggestions, working hard. So if at all they have become champions, they deserve to be there. The fact that I was able to polish them a little bit or work with them a little bit, I am fortunate to have done that. And I consider that again as something of giving back. I have got so much out of Toastmasters that there is a time comes when you must give back. And by giving back, I have learned more.
Thank you for that insight, sir. Moving on, as you know that many new members of Toastmasters International aspire to follow in your footsteps and become a DTM just like you. What is your advice to these new members?
My first advice to them would be, don't take 22 years to get your DTM, like I did. And the second and most important advice I would give them is, please do not consider this program as a degree program, where you have to accomplish and get a DTM in less than 3 years. I'm not saying you should not do that, but more importantly, as you are in this, look at it as a journey. Enjoy every beautiful role that comes your way. You can't just become a better speaker or communicator without understanding the nuances of also doing other roles. So whether it's a role of a timer, an hour counter, whatever, take it up and do it to the best of your ability. But whatever role you take, try and ensure, do a self-assessment. Have I done this role better than last time? Has that speech that I did 2 weeks back, 6 weeks back, has my speech today become better than that? Did I manage to bring in the things that the evaluator pointed out to me? Have I brought that into this whole thing? And overall, what that is, the self-assessment is simple. Have I become a better version of myself than from the previous meetings? So yes, aspire to become a DTM, enjoy your journey, but take every step and enjoy it, because that is the beauty of this program.
You spoke on what it meant to be a good mentor, and you said that you were blessed with many great mentees. One of these mentees is our district champion. So could you tell us what makes a champion speaker, and could anyone be one?
I will answer your last question first. Could anyone be one? The answer is yes. If you believe in yourself and you're willing to work hard, anyone can become a good speaker. The challenge that we have here is that many people lack self-belief. And many people do not want to admit that they need help. When you believe that you need help and you seek some help in the form of a mentor or an advisor or whoever, then the chances are that you will get that advice, that mentorship, and you can become better. Now, yes, I was blessed with good mentees, purely because of the fact that A, they were able to understand what I was putting through. And a mentor-mentee relationship is an emotional connect. It's an emotional relationship where there is trust, where the mentee allows the mentor to work on his script also, and his delivery and his expressions in such a way. It's almost like giving clay into the potter's hand to mold it. And those kind of mentees are not very easy to find, because you find mentees who can be very, very difficult to work with, because they come with an idea and they stick with an idea. But if they believe and trust you and allow you to mold them, then a mentor can do something with you. And hopefully, the mentee will go on to win laurels. And, just like we have at this particular point in time, we're all waiting for the end of August to see if our regional contestant will move one step forward into the finals. What took me 22 years?
Yes.
Okay, very interesting question. As I mentioned to you before, in a couple of years after I joined Toastmasters, I discovered a passion for mentoring and for training. Now that became also something that I wanted to develop. Matter of factly, to be honest with you, I had no plans what I wanted to do post-retirement. But having discovered this particular skill, I found a passion, I found a true meaning, and I found a post-retirement plan. And that is to train others to become better. Now, post-retirement plan does not necessarily mean something that has got monetary returns. But I can tell you something. Training others and making them better individuals. The mental and emotional satisfaction you get out of this can never be compared with any money that can be placed in your account. So yes, because of that one reason, I moved away from doing speeches, in addition to my own laziness. And that's why it took me 22 years. But I attended every single meeting of the club and took on roles, timer roles, counter roles, whatever roles came my way. Because every role is important. And I tried to do every one with a slight twist, with a variety, to give it a panache of how to do that. And then I knew that as I journeyed through this program, the titles would come and the DTM would eventually come. So 22 years has been a beautiful journey, but I can tell you something. It's been a journey of learning immensely from this program, giving back to this program and learning even more.
That all sounds incredible. Thank you. Now, you have been a table topics champion. And firstly, on behalf of all of us, congratulations.
Thank you.
Also, what is the secret to winning a table topics contest?
I have not given up competing in competitions. So if I allow you to have the secret recipe, why would I want to give it to my competition? Jokes apart, there is no secret recipe for Toastmaster, for the table topics segment, Namita. Like I told you, all you need to do is to be a good listener, to understand the topic. Because many people have that issue. They don't really and clearly understand the topic. Once you've clearly understood the topic, the second bit that you need is how do you respond? Now, you may have the ideas, but many people, the challenge that they face is that they have ideas in their mind, but they're unable to convert those into words. So having a good vocabulary is also an important factor in communication as well as in table topics, because in a limited period of time, you need to express an opinion. And once you've got the two of these, and the most important thing that you need is to want to do table topics as much as you need air to breathe. Think of yourself when you have a moment of breathlessness. Just think how much you yearn to be able to breathe normally. If you have the same yearning to do well, then the three of these put together will make you a good table topic speaker. And you don't have to always be a winner, because getting up on a stage and doing table topics itself is a very, very courageous thing.
You've mentioned all your milestones in your Toastmasters journey. You've got your CC, your CL, your ACB, your ACS, your ACG, and now DTM. But you also mentioned that your journey is not over yet. So what do you believe is next? What comes after this in your Toastmasters journey?
Well, absolutely. Now that the conventional program is over, I'm going to take on the very exciting Pathways program. I've had a good look at it. I've already signed up for Pathways, and I'm looking forward to starting that journey. Because, at the end of the day, there are two things that are very important. If you stop speaking or doing something, any skill that you do not exercise often enough becomes rusty. You may be a very good speaker, but if you don't take on speaking roles, in 6 months, you'll realize that you become rusty, just like the machinery that becomes rusty. Take your own bodies for an example. If you don't exercise it sufficiently, if you don't exercise your brain often enough, you become rusty. So yes, my next journey would be towards to working on the Pathways program and working hard to, and who knows, maybe in the next 22 years, I'll get my next DTM in Pathways.
So it looks like you have a great journey ahead of you also now. So now we all know you as the table topics champion. So we would like to conclude by asking you a table topics question. So, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. DTM Abraham Thomas. Your topic is, what lifts your spirit when life gets you down? What lifts your spirit when life gets you down? DTM Abraham Thomas.
What lifts your spirit when life puts you down? I don't think there's any person in this world who has not faced a challenge or has not been put down one time at least in his lifetime. We've seen a lot of people who have gone through a lot of adversity but have actually bounced back to do things that we thought they would have difficulty doing. Whether it's an exam at school, whether it's a table topic contest at the club, or anything, failure comes in different shades at different times. But if you are one of those people who will take failure and decide that this is it and that's the end of it, then that makes you a very hopeless person. Anything that will get you back and get your spirit soaring would be a 4-letter word called hope. And the beauty about hope is that no man can live tomorrow without hope. We are facing one of the worst adversities that humankind has faced in a long time with the pandemic that's going on. But we still plan for tomorrow, to wake up in the morning, to get onto an online call or whatever. And for me, if you have hope, you will get up, you will bounce back. Because hope sees the invisible, feels the intangible, and achieves the impossible. Over to you.
Thank you, sir, for that. That was lovely.
Thank you so much for that table topics. That was incredible. And we'd also like to thank you for sharing some insights regarding your distinguished Toastmaster journey. I am certain that all the listeners of this conversation will bring home some insights that you have shared with us and use it to improve their own Toastmaster journey. On behalf of all of us at District 105, we appreciate you taking the time to be here today, and we wish you all the best in your future journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The pleasure was entirely mine to be on this program. Very, very privileged.